Hey, guess what's happening on this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with your friend and host, Oscar Camejo.
Most people don't develop prediabetes or type 2 diabetes overnight. It actually builds up quietly, one normal day at a time. And I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm actually saying this to free you. Because if it was built over time, then it can be reversed over time. It actually makes sense, right? Let me say this. I want to give you some small habits, some things to think about. You don't need to be on a perfect diet. You don't need to be on a complicated plan. You don't need to punish yourself at all. What you actually need is a few simple lifestyle habits that you can actually repeat so it can become a lifestyle. That's what this episode is all about. Today, I want to lay the groundwork for a new series. We're going to talk all about the lifestyle behaviors people do every day that push blood sugar in the wrong direction. And then in some future episodes, we'll break each category down one by one. So I want you to take some action without feeling overwhelmed. I know sometimes you feel frustrated and you feel overwhelmed. If you've ever said to yourself, I don't even know where to start. Well, today, this is your starting line. I want you to stick around to hear the rest of today's episode. My friend, you don't want to miss it. Let's go. Be sure to visit the website at www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com for access to free resources and other information that will help you along your journey. If you would like to submit a question or a comment about the show or to learn more about the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Welcome to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with me, your host, Oscar Camejo, helping diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. Now, I want you to be sure to listen to the entire episode for an opportunity to receive a free healthy shopping guide that I made just for you. I created it to make it easier for you when you go out to choose healthy food, whether it's at a restaurant or shopping for food. I want to help you. And if you're new to this podcast, welcome. If you've been rocking with me for years, thank you as well. You know what? I have listeners from all around the world, and I don't take that lightly. So thank you very much. So folks, I want to share with you a few comments from my followers on TikTok, and a lot of these really bless me. Diabetes will not win. Thanks for the encouragement. That's from one follower. Here's another one. Thanks for the advice all the way from South Africa. Great job. Now, this is in response to a few videos that I had out there. It's a great job. I have type 2 diabetes and I'm struggling with being consistent. This is very encouraging. Here's another one from Farah. I'm glad I came across this. You're an inspiration to many. I want to reverse my type 2 diabetes and lose weight. Please help. You know, when I get messages like that, comments like that, it really, it blesses me. It lets me know that I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right thing because I really want to help people. When I was struggling with type 2 diabetes, first learning about it, you know, I didn't have resources at my disposal. I wish I had a support team, you know, but I didn't have that. So I just want to thank you all for listening and tuning in again, even for my followers. We're in this together. You're not doing this alone. Now, do me a favor. Share this episode with a friend or someone that you know who can use this information. Share it with a family member. Share it with somebody who really needs some practical tips to live healthier and who's tired of being stuck. Now, here's a quick note before we start. I'm not giving you any medical advice. I'm not a medical doctor, medical practitioner. I'm simply sharing some lifestyle education, some real life experiences and practical steps. Now let's get into it. You know what, folks? I used to be 268 pounds. I was overweight, struggling with type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and dealing with some other complications regarding my heart and my eyesight. Man, things were really kind of sketch for a little bit. And you know what? In less than a year, I was able to reverse type 2 diabetes by making some simple lifestyle changes. So I want to help you achieve your best. So when I say I know what I'm talking about, I'm coming from a practical place. Now, here's the simplest way I want you to think about this. Diabetes is rarely just about one habit. It's usually a stack of habits, a stack of lifestyle habits that we build over time. And most of it just feels normal. It's not just about sugar. It's not just about carbs and how much carbs we're eating. It's actually patterns built upon patterns, routines. It's about sleep. It's about stress. It's about sitting all day and being sedentary and not moving as much. And let me make this real for you. A lot of people are doing their best, but sometimes you're doing your best inside of a routine that isn't working. It's working against you. So today we're going to identify those routines, not to shame you, but to actually help you to see what needs to change, because awareness is step one. Here's what I want you to do while listening. Don't try to fix everything today. Just listen and say, okay, I do that. Yeah, that's me. Or, wow, yeah, I've been doing that. That's enough for now. It's all about awareness. Awareness is that first step, knowing the reality of your situation. Now, we're going to talk about some foundational habits and really get into it, all right? So let's talk about the simplest lifestyle habits that make the biggest difference. I'm going to keep it real and very simple for you. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm trying to help you win. Keep that in mind. Here are the foundation habits we're building this series around. How to eat on a day-to-day basis, how much you move, how you sleep, how you handle stress, how consistent your daily routines are, what you drink, what you believe about yourself and your health, and whether you're actually paying attention to the early warning signs of prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. Now, let's talk about some nutrition, movement, sleep, and some other things. Now, each one of these can push your numbers up. Talking about your blood sugar numbers, or it can help bring them down. Now, here's the good news. Most of these are fixable. It's not about perfection, though. Remember, it's about consistency. Now, the habits that quietly push your blood sugar up is something that we really need to pay attention to. Now, I'm going to walk through the most common lifestyle habits. Think of this as a mirror segment. This portion, it's like a mirror. I want you to see the reflection. I want you to hear these and think about your normal week, not your best week, just your normal week. Show me the mirror. What's actually happening? Now, when it comes to nutrition, the things you eat and drink, one big one is sugary beverages, because you can drink a lot of calories and a lot of sugar real fast. Let me give you a real life example. What about the sweet teas and the lemonades with every meal, the sugary drinks, the orange juices and apple juices in the morning, the sports drinks, even though you may not be doing sports or intense workouts? You know what? There's a such thing called the sugar that you don't actually chew, you drink. Let me make this simple. I want you to make a simple shift. Sometimes it's going to require you to drink some more water instead of drinking a bunch of juices. That one small shift can make a big difference. Next, what about ultra-processed foods? They're usually low in fiber and they keep you hungry. Now, fast food on most days, yeah, I get it. Those packaged snacks that are supposed to be meals, yeah. I want you to make this shift. I want you to start cooking at least one meal a week. Think about it. It doesn't have to be gourmet, just something simple. Yeah. And what about the late night snacking and eating? This one matters because it affects blood sugar and your sleep. You know, if you're eating after 9 p.m. on a regular basis while you're watching TV, you're having your popcorn, you're snacking all the time, it's time to make a simple shift. I need you to set off a food cutoff time. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to create some boundaries. Eating late doesn't help. Trust me. Next, let's talk about sedentary lifestyle. I'm not just talking about people who never go to the gym. I'm talking about sitting for hours and hours. You know, you sit at work, then you sit in your car, then you're sitting at home in front of the television. It's time to add a simple shift like adding daily walks. It doesn't have to be long. Every 10 minutes after meals can make a big difference. You know, small and repeatable. You get what I'm saying? Let's walk more. At least start there. And then there's no strength training, because muscles help regulate glucose and blood sugar. You know, sometimes you go to the gym and you're only doing cardio, or you don't have a consistent workout at all and you're not building strength. We need to build strength. So make this simple shift. Add some basic resistance training, you know, some body squats, body weight squats, push-ups against the wall, light dumbbells, some resistance bands. You know, start where you are. You don't have to become a muscle-bound bodybuilder to be in shape. Now, when it comes to sleep, we need to talk about sleep. Poor sleep can actually push your insulin resistance in the wrong direction. 4 to 5 hours a night of sleep, then you run on caffeine. Come on, we need to make a shift. You need to prioritize at least getting 7 to 8 hours when possible. And I know it's tough. Trust me, I know. But if you can get a full night's sleep right now, you can start protecting your health. You can start by protecting your bedtime. Trust me, it's going to make a big difference because your body needs time to recover and recoup from your mind to your body, everything. Because you deal with a lot of stress and chronic stress matters. Because stress hormones can keep your body in this fight or flight mode, we need to get our rest. You're always rushing. You're always behind. I need you to make a simple shift. Schedule some downtime on purpose, not because you earned it, but because your body needs it. Emotional eating is real. Sometimes it's not just hunger. You're eating fast, you're on the go, and you're eating a lot, and it's overwhelming. You're frustrated, and you're dealing with sadness. When you're stressed out and you're eating comfort food, even when you're not hungry, that's an issue. We've all been there, but I want you to make this simple shift. Pause and identify the emotion first. Ask, what am I actually feeling? Then decide what you really need. Folks, we all need routines. We need positive habits. Not having structure is another big concern because when there is no rhythm, no structure, you can actually make some reactive choices. But whenever you are just eating whatever and grabbing whatever is closest, that can be a challenge. I want you to make this shift by creating some basic daily routines, not a strict schedule, just a rhythm, get into a pattern. And poor hydration gets overlooked sometimes. We don't have a routine that's simple, but it does matter. If you're barely drinking water all day, you're probably dealing with some headaches, some lightheadedness. I want you to start tracking your water intake every week. Just track it, be aware, because awareness comes first. Now, when it comes to drinking and our habits around beverages and what we're putting in our bodies, this is where a lot of people get tricked because you can consume a lot of calories in liquid form. Juices, again, the sweet coffee drinks, the sports drinks, the sweet teas and the lemonades, like I mentioned before. I want you to make this simple shift. Choose some calorie-free options like water. You can add some flavor to your water, but think about unsweet tea instead of regular tea, black coffee without a bunch of the cream and sugars. I know there's some things that you are used to, but make this shift. Ignoring early signs is common, not because people don't care, but because life is busy. Avoiding your checkups, not going to your annual checkup to get your blood work done. I need you to make a simple shift. You need to learn your numbers, folks. Know your A1C, know your fasting glucose, know your trends, because you can't manage what you don't measure. Remember, manage by measuring. Now, we need to make a mindset shift and really identify what's going on in our mental. Sometimes it's all or nothing thinking will make things worse because one bad day can actually turn into a whole bad week. You slip up once and then you want to quit. We've all been there. Focus on consistency. That's the mindset shift that I want you to have. Not perfection, but consistency. I know that's easier said than done. When you're waiting for motivation, that's a trap because motivation can go and it can come. It comes and goes easily sometimes. I'll put it off to next Monday, next month, when life calms down because I'm busy now. Folks, you're waiting for the latest outfit to come in. You know what? Start imperfectly. I need you to start today. Start small. That's very important. Now, here's the thing that I want you to know. What you're doing by making the small changes is going to benefit you in the long run, not the short-term fixes. We're not trying to change everything all at once. I want to drive that home. We're going to go through this series category by category, episode by episode to help you to build a lifestyle that you can be proud of. That means 1 week we'll focus on nutrition habits. That's important. Again, what we're putting in our body we're going to go really in depth in that. Another week, we're going to focus on movement. We're going to focus on sleep, stress, routines. 1 week, we're going to talk about the things that we're drinking. 1 week, we're going to definitely deal with mindset. And we're going to also talk about knowing our numbers. Every episode will have the same purpose, to give you some simple shifts that you can actually do. Because these habits are simple, folks. They're not always easy, though, but they are simple. But you can build on them one decision at a time. All right, quick break. If you ever walked into a grocery store and you were thinking to yourself, what am I supposed to buy? I have type 2 diabetes or prediabetes. I'm trying to lose weight, trying to get off these medications. Listen, this is for you. I have just the ticket for you. I created my healthy grocery shopping guide, the fruits and veggies edition, to keep things really simple for those of you all who are struggling to know what to buy. Now, here's how it works. Rule number 1, choose whole foods. Think oranges, not orange juice. Whole foods like real food, not processed food. Now, number 2, shop by color. I'm talking green, yellow, red, like a traffic light. It's all simple. Now, rule number 3, shop by variety. Variety is king. More variety equals more nutrients. Why? So your body gets everything that it needs. Now, here's a bonus. There's even a page in the guide to help you to stop buying stuff you already know is holding you back and you probably shouldn't be buying. So to get yourself a free copy, go to my website and download it at beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And now, let's keep it moving. All right. Now it's time to make it even more practical. Here's your battle plan for this week. Not 10 things. I'm not giving you 20 things. Here are 3 things that I want you to pick. Just pick one for this week. Replace 1 sugary drink per day. That's an option. Add 1 simple home meal that you cook this week instead of eating out a lot. The third one is set a food cutoff time at night. 9 o'clock would be good. 10 o'clock would be good. Now let's move on to number 2. Pick 1 movement shift. Here's an option. Walk 10 minutes after every meal per day. Here's a second one. Stand up once every hour instead of sitting all the time. Do some basic strength training this week. Real easy. Now here's a third shift, and this is the recovery shift. Rest. Number 1, choose a bedtime and protect it. That's one option. Second one, cut screen time to roughly 30 minutes before going to bed. And then pick a block of time where you're just going to have your downtime. So those are real easy. You can do that. But now here's the most important part, folks. I need you to track what you're doing. Not forever, but just for the next 7 days at least. You're not tracking to judge yourself. You're tracking to learn about yourself and your current habits and things that you need to shift. Because once you learn your patterns, you can change your patterns. Again, it's all about awareness, like we said at the top of the episode. It's very important, folks. Because if we don't track, we don't know, right? If this episode has helped you in any way, again, please share it with somebody. Send it to a friend who needs a starting point. We all have to start somewhere, but sometimes we just simply need guidance. And if you're listening and you're thinking, well, Oscar, man, I've tried that before. And you know what? I hear you. I've tried a lot of things and I had to work on figure out what works for me. But trying again doesn't mean you failed. It means you're still in this fight. Remember, we're talking about beating type 2 diabetes. You don't have to do everything all at once. You need to just do something. You have to keep going and doing it long enough until it becomes normal, until it becomes a lifestyle. So in the next episode, we're going to start breaking down all the categories, making it real simple, continue to be practical, making it real life. So until next time, stay focused, keep moving, never go back, leap forward, bounce back because you can, my friend. And above all else, trust God. You got this. I believe in you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.